With the end of the Second World War, Armenians had introduced new propaganda tactics. Their propaganda was based on the verdict of the Nuremberg Tribunal accusing the Nazi Germany of carrying out genocide against Jews. Armenians claim that they were the first to have witnessed genocide long before the Jews, so the dimension of the Armenian lie widened day by day. The number of the so-called genocide victims constantly increased. The number, which was 1 million at the beginning of the so-called allegation period, reached 2 million afterwards. The arguments of the people who compare the so-called Armenian allegation with the Jewish genocide is far from reality, because there is no genocide intention, no genocide plan, or any organization responsible for the genocide.
First of all, intention is important. There is no genocide tendency in the society, and more importantly, there is no plan. There should be an organization to carry out genocide. When we look at the Germany example, we can easily point out this organizational structure during that time. Was there anti-Semitism policy? Yes, there was. Anti-Semitism had penetrated into all sections of the society. Its root was extending as far as 1,000 years ago. Secondly, was there a genocide plan in Germany? We explicitly see the camps. Thirdly, an organization. There was an organization for this intention. But in the Ottoman Empire, there was no such things.
Unreal and unscientific so-called allegation became systematic and organized after the Second World War. Armenian propaganda increased after the year 1965, the date of the so-called 50th anniversary of the so-called genocide. In some countries, the propaganda was successful. In the 1970s, propaganda showed its bloody face. Armenian terror organizations replaced the Armenian bandits of the First World War.
1973 yılında Amerika
The
Birleşik
terrorist wave,
Devletleri'nin
which started in Los Angeles, reached its peak when Asala was founded in Lebanon. Tens of our diplomats were killed and became martyrs. A great number of innocent Turkish citizens were also massacred.
Şehit olurken pek çok masum sivil Türk vatandaşı da katledildi. Fransa'nın başkenti Paris'teki Orly
The bomb attack on the Turkish Airlines office in Paris, Orly Airport in France, was the starting point of the end of the terror wave. Among the deaths, there were also European countries' citizens. The European countries, which had ignored the terrorist organization before, started to revise their behavior. Then, in the upcoming period, terror was replaced by the insubstantial propaganda activities of the Armenian lobbies on the political platform in various countries, aiming at ensuring the recognition of the so-called allegations.
Bir dönem PKK ile de işbirliği
The Asala terror organization, which cooperated with the PKK terror organization, disappeared due to internal conflict and discharges. But the Armenian lobby activities went on effectively. Armenians who announced April the 24th, the date when the rebellious Armenians were arrested, as Genocide Day, continued their propaganda in various countries to effect the countries to recognize the so-called genocide allegation on the political platform.
Ermenistan dışında yaşayan yaklaşık
4 million Armenians living outside of Armenia. The Armenian diaspora are striving for many years in different countries to make the countries recognize the so-called genocide allegations and the policies concerning the territory and compensation demand. Sometimes Armenian organizations are imposing their vote potential as leverage during pre-election periods, and they can successfully affect the National Assemblies, and National Assemblies adopt the so-called Armenian allegations. But what's the source of the Armenian lobbyist power?
Since they're minority and their economic position is good, they are in a strong solidarity. I think that approximately $4.5 million is allotted for the propaganda activities every year. The money is used for propaganda activities.
Tabii bu önemli bir etken oluyor. Bugün kolay bir iş değildir. Amerika'da
34 states in United States recognize the so-called allegations. This is not easy. This was done by the help of their systematic organizational structure. If you go to United States on 24 April, you see that the flowers bloom. A child rings the bell of your door with coin boxes like the coin boxes of the Society for the Protection of Children in Turkey. They stand in front of you and asks, "Sir or madam, could you please attach this badge on your collar today?" This continued for 89 years. This is very important. Defining an issue abroad, uniting the society around issue, and then holding the individuals of a society who are living abroad in an action unity. Even if you do not like, this is a consistent action. Americans look at the child, give money, and attach the badge even on his or her pajamas. They have been doing this for 89 years.
Şimdi Fransa'da 400 bin, Amerika'da 800 bin.
Today 400,000 Armenians live in France and 800,000 in the United States. But they are living together as a community in one region, so they constitute an important political power. Sometimes their representatives are elected to be a member of the parliament. So this is really effective.
Çok büyük etkisi oluyor.
Özellikle Amerika Birleşik Devletleri ve
Armenian lobbies, which are very influential in the United States and France, are aiming first and foremost at Turkey's recognition of the so-called genocide allegations, Turkey's paying compensation for the so-called genocide victims, and lastly, Turkey's making territorial concessions. They are demanding one part of Turkish territory that they consider the so-called West Armenia. In many countries, this stance, or the way the allegations are asserted, constituted another function. For many Armenian intellectuals, the so-called genocide allegations turned out to be a motive to hold the Armenians abroad together. The so-called genocide allegations become a function for the Armenian population, which is slowly disappearing within the population of the home countries. That's keeping their population together and reminding them of their identity and origin.
Bugün sizlere
Try to
sözlü
make
Ermeni
clear
soykırımı
how the
iddialarının
so-called genocide
tarihi süreçte
allegations
nasıl
were
geliştiğini
constituted in
anlatacağız.
historical process. Tomorrow we will deal with the so-called basis of these allegations. Good evening till the same time tomorrow.
Aynı saatte buluşmak üzere. İyi akşamlar diliyoruz.